Welcome to Eventful Endeavors, secrets to crafting the perfect celebration. If you're planning an event and looking for useful tips from industry experts, you're in the right place. So get ready to take some notes and we'll dive right in. This is Eventful Endeavors.
Hello, so I'm Jake Carter with Felix and Fingers, and I am here with Brandon and Myline from the Playground. And you guys are the owners of the Playground. You moved out to Maui from Vegas originally. Brandon, you have a really cool background as VP of Sales in two different Fortune 500 companies. And Myline, you have a culinary arts degree from Cordon Bleu, and also doing marketing for about 15 years at a very successful Las Vegas breakfast chain, where you grew that up to 20,000 plus people. And you guys moved out here, and I know we were just chatting, and you told me some pretty cool stories about why you moved out here and that whole thing. So if you want to expand on all of that, let me go ahead.
Appreciate it, Jake. Aloha, everybody. We moved out here. We're very goal oriented. Since I can remember, I've always done New Year's goals. We really raise the kids with the law of attraction, focusing on what they want, New Year's goals and vision boards. The kids did really good. Daughter, she was valedictorian, went off to Stanford. And, son did everything that he wanted to do. 4 years later, was valedictorian in a public school in Vegas, got into Berkeley. And when he got into Berkeley, we kind of looked at our vision board, and there was one thing left on the vision board that we hadn't achieved yet. And that one thing that was left was opening up a beach bar, specifically somewhere in Hawaii. And so we were I was one of the younger vice presidents of sales and cybersecurity at the time. Myline was really taken off to the races on running two different businesses through her own business and doing all their social media and website. But when our son went off to Berkeley, we basically on the way home from checking him into the dorm, we gave him a quick call and said, "Hey, do you want to come visit us, on your breaks in Vegas, or do you want to come visit us in Hawaii?" He said, "Go make it happen. We want to go to Hawaii." So we pretty much got rid of all the materialistic items, the huge house, donated pretty much all of our furniture to different charities. Came out here, moved into a little 700 square foot condo. We opened up a bar called, it was Ambrosia at the time. We bought that because it was a small bar that was on the beach. It hit our vision board. But it wasn't going to be the one that we were really looking to open. We weren't sure what was missing in Maui. We definitely wanted to be a part of something bigger than us. It wasn't about money this time. It was about being a part of a community, giving back to your community. And the big glowing hole that we figured out was there wasn't a mid-ground live event center. We do have a big live event center that's called the MAC that, you have to sell 5,000 tickets, to really be successful in a show. You got to be a really big artist. And we started seeing all these artists that have so much talent, but they're performing in a restaurant in a little corner. So that's kind of how we came about opening up the Playground. Of course, we did open. We got delayed by a year because of COVID. And then we did open in 2021 during the height of the pandemic at 30% capacity. We built a plexiglass barrier. We social distanced with the fire marshal. And that year we did over 300 shows. It was actually really special to be able to be one of the only places that were open. We were getting a lot of bigger local artists, from the other islands, especially Oahu. We were able to pay them and empower them. We got a chance to crawl before we walked to really nail our process. And definitely was able to bring some happiness and some joy during a really rough time, during COVID. And I'm really proud to say, because of being so process oriented and having everything social distanced, we didn't get one case that came out of our establishment. They couldn't even track any COVID cases. The health department had called us and said, like, you guys are doing a phenomenal job. Like, we can't even track anything back to you guys. We were meeting with them.
That means they were looking.
They were, right?
They're like, we really
Gotcha.
tried.
So
Oh my gosh.
it's
And
been a
I know,
ride.
Yeah,
so
it's been a ride for sure.
yeah, and to just fill people in a little bit more on, what you're talking about, because you were saying, you opened from Ambrosia, turned it into Vibe, super, super small bar, like seating
500
for
square feet,
like
I think it
10
was.
people. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then now you've opened a Playground, which I know we've talked about before, is like, and what you kind of just said, but didn't totally get into it, is like a full, like legit club venue with all of the lights and the stage and the sound and everything. Like it's not just a bar, like a little, it's a legit thing with a whole stage, and you do get really, really cool acts in there, like dueling pianos. But
Right?
also some really other cool things. I really love going and seeing shows because of what you said. It is such a legit space and venue, and everything does look really good and sound really good, and it's like not just going to a bar, it's actually going to a show. And I know you guys are only open for shows, so it's like a totally different experience, and it is really nice. And I know that, like
Thanks.
you said, there are a lot of musicians on Maui, and so it is really cool that you're giving back and giving that outlet for people. So
Thank
just
you for
had to
mentioning
shout
that,
that out.
Jake. Well, I want to
Yeah.
expand on that. I actually really appreciate you mentioning that because we did really focus on doing a professional sound system, professional lighting.
Sound
We
treatment.
sound treated the entire venue. So we got the treatment in there. We have a VIP room with the backdoor entrance. We do get lucky. We get a lot of bigger acts because they're already playing in Oahu and they want to come out to Maui, but then not necessarily want to try to sell a 5,000 venue out, but a 400 person venue to come over here for a quick stopover, or 250 capacity is our capacity on there. But we're getting a lot bigger artists that we probably normally wouldn't get just because we are in Maui and they want to extend their trip over, from from already being out in Oahu, or they want to be able to come out to Maui for a vacation and get a write off.
We're the last stop, so they come and stay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in Maui no Koi, it's the best place to
Right?
stay anyways. So.
Right.
Okay.
Hello.
Everyone knows. So I'm going to go through some questions here just about general event things and stuff that you guys have experienced. So my first question for you is, what current trends are you seeing in the event industry?
So the trends that we're seeing, at least in Maui, that's something that's really different. Is a lot of people got to realize that our population is 150,000 population. Oahu is 1 million population, just to give you an idea of the difference. So a lot of things that are trending in the mainland and that are trending in Oahu, not necessarily trending in Maui. So we got to be really cautious and really get to know our audience out here. Recently, good trends have been Felix and Fingers. That's been a great show that's starting to do well. That I can see us doing once a month, and people really enjoy it.
They do like the themed events. We've been throwing like these themed, like what is it, nightclub themes, like a Taylor Swift one, or we have a cartoon rave coming. We had a Party 101 that was all Disney based.
With Mark Bennett.
Yeah, with Mark Bennett. That we were very surprised that, we had like 300 people, or no, not 300.
We did. We definitely we
Up to almost.
we sold out at our capacity, which is basically around 250.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're also getting into a lot of tribute bands.
Tribute bands.
So we've done like a Fleetwood Mac tribute band. We've done a Led Zeppelin tribute band. We've done an AC/DC tribute band. So yeah, those are starting to work pretty well. And of course, the normal shows that always do well in Maui are going to be more of the Hawaiian music, which we love and been listening to well before we moved here. The Anaheas and the Ellie Macs and Paula Fugas, which has got a mix of R&B and reggae to it. So those that haven't really went out there and listened to the music, we have friends that come and visit us and they leave and this is all they listen to now is this type of music, and it's pretty awesome. It's uplifting, it's positive, and it fits. It's an island style music that we enjoy and love, and of course that always does extremely well out here.
Yeah, I know one of the shows that I came and saw that I was just so stoked with was Claire Wright.
Oh,
And
right.
that
Yeah.
was so cool. Like just such a like happy kind of island music and just like watch it. I still listen to her stuff and I've shown her music to all kinds of people. Like it was just such a
Sure.
cool show, just that like chill kind of thing. And it was just her with a guitar and Tavana open for her. That was
Yeah,
amazing.
Tavana.
So
Yeah, that's a perfect
yeah, yeah.
example. Yeah, Claire and Tavana is a perfect example where Claire is from the mainland, but she's breaking into the island music with someone like Tavana, and she's doing a great job of
Yeah.
doing it. I'm glad you got to experience at a show. That's a
That was a
perfect
perfect show.
example.
Yeah. Well, and I think that she did live in Hawaii for a little bit, so I know that her music's like kind of influenced
Yeah.
by
Influence.
all of that. So, yeah. So that was super cool. What are the most cringeworthy things that you hate seeing at shows and events?
Oh man, when we have a
Mhm.
super talented artist and people don't know about them and they don't come out, that's one of my super cringy ones because they're just so talented and it's just like just come out for live music.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
that is probably, I have to agree, one of the worst that we have to deal with, and we get it a lot. We have some artists that I feel that all the shows should be selling out, but with the 150,000 population, we haven't figured that part out yet, and we're spending a lot of time on marketing and figuring out social media. We're now getting into texting. We capture all the emails. We're up to over thousands and thousands of emails, but I think we're up against is that you can only do so many shows in the population, and that is a hard
Yeah.
part because we do get these artists that we might have a half be half full in there, and they should have sold out no problem, and they would have in the mainland or even a bigger
Yeah.
populated area. That's a hard one. I would put it probably to the top of the list as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that it's Maui is kind of one of those weird places where there's always a lot of things going on, you know. So I know that that makes things difficult too, where it's like a lot of times there's multiple shows every night that you
Oh
could go
yeah.
see. And it just depends on like what do you want to go to, you know? Um, and that's also I always tell people like people that come visit, they're like, "Oh, well, it's going to be a Tuesday, so I don't know like what it's going to be like if we go out and like go to the tiki bar or something." And I'm like, "Every day is Saturday. There's no like
Doesn't
it
matter.
doesn't matter. Like there's no such thing as Tuesday here. People get off the plane and they go to the tiki bar. That's doesn't, like so
and with us,
but the
we're
people that
we're
live here,
100% local driven because
yeah.
we're not advertising to the tourists, nor do tourists really want to come to a concert or a show, a comedy show. They can do that in the mainland. They want to go to snorkel
Hmm.
trips. They want to go to luau's. So also like we're only open when we do shows. And also we're targeting, pretty much our crowd is
They're all
98%
locals.
locals.
Yeah.
So, that's another challenge that if we could break into the tourism, I know that would really, help fill some of the shows that we feel that should have sold out if some of the tourists would even know that they actually have, for example, Collie
Yeah.
Buds on Island or whoever it may be that's
Yeah.
performing with us. So,
Yeah. It's something interesting for us to talk about, I think, in the future. Not right now, but
yeah.
okay, so next question. What are some unique fun ideas that you've seen at recent events?
Oh my gosh, you can take. I'll do a couple of them. We've done some really Felix and Fingers. Has been a blast. Everyone, we always get just huge reviews of how much fun they've had. I know it's building. Each show is close to selling out every time we do it, which is awesome.
Right.
We love doing our drag show. We've been doing that up for over 2 years, and it's the last Sunday of every month, and that's always been super fun and successful. We're working on doing grad events. We're hoping to get approved to do the graduations for the kids in high school.
Grad night.
We had for
Oh,
grad
wow.
night. We're like pretty much if you think about what these kids have to look forward to doing out here in Maui, there's not a lot of options. And if we can,
Yeah.
and we're 21 and over, and we're only allowed to be 21 and over because
Oh,
we're not allowed to have, because we don't serve food and we're not a restaurant. We have stricter laws and rules out here in Maui that are different than everywhere else. So yeah, we're 21 and over, but being able to do like a grad night and have these guys experience a true sound and lazy light show and a concert indoors with a
Yeah.
DJ. We're hoping we get approved with that one. That one's gonna. We're at the final stages of knowing if we're going to get approved or not, and I have a feeling we're going to be doing a majority of all the grad nights out here for these kids that have been through nothing but COVID, you know, and then after COVID, you know, we're finally getting our feet, you know, underneath us. We experienced the fires. So,
Yeah.
you know, events just like that, grad night is a perfect example of why we opened up the playground, to be a part of
Yeah.
something bigger than us and be a part of the community. And I'm hoping we get approved.
Okay. What about you, Mylene? What's something unique that you've seen? Like something just
Unique.
driven out there that you're like, ooh, that was something cool that they did at a show.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed all of the new and upcoming artists. You know, just because it's new music. I love listening to new music and it getting just kind of exposed to things that I don't normally listen to. One that really stands out is Brown Chicken Brown Cow. Like they do all bluegrass and all of that stuff, and just their instruments and just their artistry. You know, for me, that's is just so unique, and it really made me become a fan. So, I mean, I love, you know, just that exposure to all different types of music for me, because then it's, I don't know, you know, it's just cool to watch, you know, just all of the different instruments that they have, all of the, just everything
They're so
about it.
talented.
Yeah, it's just so talented. The amount of talent that goes in to playing that instrument, it blows my mind.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
Brown Chicken Brown Cow is a local bluegrass country band that started out like 15 years ago playing on the streets out in Maui.
They would be a good band to interview.
Now they sell out all our shows. Anytime they do a show with us, they'll do a show once or twice a year with us. They'll sell it out. But every one of those band members are so talented. They could be their own artist.
Yeah.
And it's a group of 4 of them, and they're just amazing.
And it's all string band or string instruments. So there's nothing, it's, I don't know, they have this thing that's flat that they play. And I don't know, you just have to you just have to watch them because it's amazing.
Awesome. Okay. So what is some advice that you would give to someone? So if someone came to you and they like for the grad night, like they wanted to book an event with you, what's some advice that you would give to someone that is just starting the idea of like, hey, we want to have an event like this, and they come to you and they're like, we don't really know what we're doing, but we want to have an event. What is that advice that you give to these people?
I'm going to take this one because I actually handle all the private bookings. So what I really try to do is I try to set them up for absolute success. So what I try to do is figure out how many people they're expecting to be at the event. If they're planning on having a DJ or a band, you know, what's the age demographic of the that they're planning on having. And then after I get those questions answered, I really try to steer them towards a night, you know, that would fit. If there's going to be, you know, 200 people there, you know, we'll set them up where we just really get a deposit that covers our costs for like security, a sound tech, and a door person. And then we just do a bar minimum with them. So, you know, I want them to hit the bar minimum so it doesn't cost them anything at our event besides the deposit. That just covers, it's a small deposit that covers the operations overhead. And that's a successful event to me, where they can focus on the event, have a blast. It's fully customizable. And I do it based on if they're only going to have 100 people, I'll steer them on a Thursday, you know, to be able to do it. And I'll give them a much lower bar minimum because it's not as popular as a night, where they can get really close of hitting that bar minimum, you know, with that certain amount of people that they have. So they can focus on the catering, have a blast, where, you know, and we cover our cost and we make our money, you know, and it's a win-win for both of us. So I think understanding what they're really trying to do and setting them up for success based on what kind of event that they have. And they always have such a great time. We've done so, I don't know how many you know, class reunions and alumni class reunions, which has multiple bands. You know, everyone's different. It's all customizable on how they want to do the layouts and chairs and where they want to put the
Yeah.
food. So it's really cool to be able to
Yeah.
have every event that we do and customize it based on what they're trying to achieve and set them up for success, where it's a minimal cost for them and it lets them focus on, the event
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah. Awesome. And I know that, so basically what you're saying is reach out to you and then pick a day that's going to work the best for those people, early on in their process so that they can then align everything else up. But probably start with you first so that then they can get all of the other vendors lined up and you guys can work on a date ahead of time because that'll work
Yeah.
the best.
Yeah, we can help them with local bands if they don't have one in mind. We can help them with DJs and introducing them to the right DJ depending on their genre of music. We can help them with food to be catered in and
Yeah.
recommendations. So yeah, it would
Yeah.
definitely start with us. We eliminate probably a lot of their headache and help streamline a lot of the process and help them find people that we didn't even know where to start at.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all of this leads into the next couple questions, and these are going to be some very similar to the same kind of topic, kind of just rapid fire logistical questions about events and generally private events, I think is kind of what we're going towards mostly, but feel free to answer however you want. What is the current availability for people booking events or shows, and how far in advance do you want people to book?
Current availability right now, we're booking a couple months out. I would love to stay that way. So at least I would say 2 months out. We do have off days, our Sundays and Thursdays here and there. But if you wanted to get a Friday or a Saturday, definitely you're going to be a couple months out for booking. And the sooner that you can book it and lock it down for us, the better. We would like to start having our events go 3 or 4 months out. Right now, they're currently going out about a month and a half, 2 months. We do have some shows coming out a little further, but I would love to get to the point where our calendar is 6 months booked out ahead of time. It's a goal.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome. What kind of flexibility do you have with guest count in the event that it changes?
Guest count in the event that it changes. Could you?
I mean,
Yes.
we can, as long our thing is as long as there is clear path to the exits, and there's a clear aisleway, to and from and within the venue. We can stretch it as much as it is comfortable for that to
Okay.
happen.
Yeah, I know you guys are pretty flexible because you have, all the tables and chairs that you can put in or out or either way, and everything moves around. So I know that it's a very
Yeah.
flexible space for whatever kind of event people want, and I don't think that you guys generally have an issue if you have to get more tables.
No.
No, we got so many
Yeah.
tables and chairs, and yeah, it's completely customizable.
Yeah.
And yeah, the most important thing is staying within the capacity that we know works well, that has a very safe entrance and exit. And we're
Mhm.
very process oriented. So, when you come to our show, you'll see how streamlined and smooth the process is.
Yeah, I know that is true. So what is an average event size and cost for your venue plus mandatory gratuity, if you know what that is?
Average event size is probably about 100 to 150 people, which is well under our capacity. So plenty of room within there, plenty of tables, plenty of space. What was the other question? The event size and
And cost. So if someone was like,
cost.
"Hey, I want to book it out," what is the cost?
So a majority, I'm proud to say that our events that we do private events on, there really isn't a cost because they all pretty much hit the bar minimum. That's their cost. They have to hit a certain bar minimum. The overhead cost is never going to be really more than like $700. That includes 3 security, a door person, and a sound tech to run the sound,
Yeah.
whether it be a DJ or a band. So it's a very
Mhm.
minimal cost. It's going to be the
Yeah.
cost is going to be more of what they're paying for catering, any extras they're doing, and all the other, what they're trying to put together. And if they end up doing a Saturday and they don't mind, and there's 100 people, and we have a $4,000 bar minimum as an example, and they hit 3 of it, they will be responsible to pay that additional $1,000 at the end of the night. But a majority, like 95% of our events usually cover their bar minimum.
Yeah.
And it really is just the deposit that they usually have to pay, and all the extra stuff that they bring to our event is like the band and the DJ and the food would be that extra
Nice.
cost that we don't handle.
Yeah. So it basically to get to reserve the event or the space, it's generally about $700 plus a bar minimum, which varies depending on the day. But on a Saturday, it could be about $4,000, and then that is just something that you assume that the guests are going to pay for, that the people come to it, and so it's a kind of pass through situation to your your attendees.
Exactly.
And we're
Um,
pretty good about knowing if you have 200 guests, you're going to
yeah.
hit 7,000 at the bar. If it's a reunion and you have 100 guests, you'll still hit that 4,000 minimum. It's a reunion, right? So we can
Yeah.
help steer, depending if it's going to be a retirement party and everyone's, over 60, you might not hit that bar minimum and steer them to
Yeah.
a different day, and
Yeah.
do an event that works best for them,
Yeah. So what is your cancellation policy for events like that?
Gosh, we really haven't had any cancel. We did experience a lot of cancellations from the fires. Oh, that was rough. There's really no cancellation policy. It's just you don't get your deposit. The deposit is that pays for security, lighting, and sound. So it's
Mhm.
usually a $700 deposit. If you cancel on us, you just won't get your deposit back. But we're even nice enough that we had someone cancel on us because of the fires, but they want to redo the show in May with us. And we still said, yeah, you don't have to pay another deposit. We'll still use the same one that you have, and we'll transfer it over
Yeah.
to this new show.
Yeah.
So
So you're
we're very flexible.
Yeah. Awesome. So I know that you mentioned you don't have food at the venue. Do you have a caterer that you like to work with? Do you have preferred vendors? And is it required that people that event or rent the space use the vendors that you like and work with?
They can use whoever they want. We definitely have suggestions for them. We have, we do have restaurants right next to us. Point Break Pizza, which is an awesome spot that's just opening. Tante's, which is also an awesome spot. So, we recommend having those two locations because it's really easy. We're right next to them. But if they have something in mind and someone they already want to use, by all means, they can use whoever they want.
Awesome. What is the maximum capacity for your venue for an event?
So for most of our shows, they average 100 to 150 people. Our max capacity is about two. We pushed it before to 250, but we try to stay around 220.
Yeah.
250 just seems a little too full. I mean, we still had a perfect exits and out, but we just like to have that little extra space. So our capacity is perfect to where it's at around 220 is our capacity.
Awesome. Yeah. And then tell me about your VIP room that you guys have in the back. Tell me a little bit about that.
So we originally opened the VIP room that we were going to use it for a VIP space that you could rent out as customers. But it's really developed to be the green room for the artist. So
Which I love.
it's right. It's perfect, especially when we have the big artists. Like we've had artists do surprise visits that no one knew that they were there and kind of jump on stage.
Because it does have a backdoor entrance.
Yeah, it has a little secret backdoor entrance that they can come through. No one knows about it, and it's an awesome space. It holds about 15 to 20 people, so the whole band could be in there. It's got a mirror where they can get dressed and feel good in it. And we don't really provide it for the public. Yeah. But we are going to be working on some VIP options and some VIP spaces that we're going to be offering inside the venue in the future.
Yeah.
And we could also be offering some simple food with our pizza partners that are just opening up as another option down the road that we're working on. So
that's cool. I like this. Yeah. That'd be cool for a dueling piano show. Just saying,
Yeah, we're working on it, but hopefully we have it in place before the next show.
Yeah, that would be very So that VIP room, just a little bit more on that. So there's a couple couches in there. I know it has like direct bar access, and it's available. Like if someone was to privately rent your space, they would have that extra room that they could use, to prepare change or do whatever they needed to while the event is going on, before, after, and just have, privacy from the rest of the event. And it is a nice little space. I know that every time we do shows and I get new people that come out and play with me, they're always just like, "Oh, this is cool," you know. The last one that I did, it was really funny because my partner player, her boyfriend came with her and was in town, and he had never seen a show and that she had done. Like they were a new couple, and so we're sitting in this room, and he's like sitting there like looking around, and he's like, "Is this like norm? Is this what you always have? Is this how this works?" And she was like, "No, no, 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 no. This is not how this normally goes." Because he was just like, "Oh my God, you guys are like celebrities. Like this is crazy." So yes,
That's the whole
very
goal.
cool space.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it was so funny. She was just like, "No, no. Normally that is not the case. We're shoved into like a back closet."
Right.
Um,
We've heard those stories.
awesome.
I know, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think that's normal for everyone. It's nice that you guys have that space. Um, what are there any noise ordinances or curfews, anything that you guys have to deal with?
No, we just have to close by 1:45 and everybody out by 2 a.m. But normally we do it 1:15 and then everybody out by
1:30.
1:30. So
Yeah,
that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
We have a strict liquor control, so we just really are.
We don't push our limits.
We don't push our limits, and we do everything a little earlier than you're supposed to. We like to make
Yeah.
sure we show up with the apple and hand it on their desk, and abide by all the
Yeah.
rules.
Right.
Yeah. What about the parking situation? I know that you guys have a very big parking lot out in front. Tell me more about that.
Tons of parking. Tons.
Yeah.
Well, because
Tons.
One of the really, not the main reason, but one of the reasons why we picked that location because of the parking
and the sound
and the
ordinance.
sound ordinance.
So because of being
Yeah.
right next to the aquarium is huge, and then we also have the Whale Foundation, and they do a lot of tours during the day.
Yeah.
So it's a huge parking lot. There's no sound ordinance, and we're pretty much the only business open in the evening and at night. So we have this huge parking lot that we only take a quarter of the space. So you're never going to have issues parking or finding a spot.
And I know
Yes.
locals, if you have a Hawaiian or Hawaii driver's license, you get to park for free. And it's free anytime after 5 o'clock. And anytime after 5.
It's free for everyone after 5 or just locals after
Free
5?
for everybody after 5.
Awesome.
And then during the day, if you have a local ID, it's free for you.
Also free. Yeah.
So for our shows, it's always free because our shows are always after 5.
Yep.
Yeah. So I know that you guys, it's an indoor space. I don't think you have, do you do events outside? Do you have access to anything like that?
We
It's just
haven't.
inside, right?
We could have access, but we don't. We haven't had any anything big enough for to have it outdoors.
We were trying to do Mahalaya. That's where we're located at, and we're going to do like Mahalaya Mondays and do an event, and when we're open during the day and stuff like that. But it just didn't, with COVID and the fires. We naturally progressed, and we were going to be a daytime event and kind of like a Dave and Buster's, but we morphed into a live event center, and that's really what we are.
Kind of where
We're staying in
Yeah.
our lane, and that's what we do well.
Yeah. So there's no issue with weather. You're never going to have a rained out event.
Nope.
So that makes
Nope.
that easy. How early can vendors access the venue for setup before an event?
It's customizable. Some vendors, like I have a big show with the Expendables. They're a big reggae group. We're lucky enough to get them because they're playing on all the islands. But they need to get in at 2:00, where their show's not even until 7 because they just have all the instruments and load in and they come with so much more. So everybody's different. We let people in when they need to be in and give them as plenty of time as possible. On our private events, we do try to stick with a 5-hour max time limit because our security and everybody that we pay is based on 5 hours. So we try to make sure it's all within the 5 hour. And we usually, for private events, we'll meet with them ahead of time and go over their layout. So when they do show up, they already have the layout in place. So when they come in, they only usually need about an hour to decorate and get the food and stuff in there. It's really good.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much, I make sure that we all meet ahead of time and we have everything in place and dotted. So with the day of the event, it's already 80% all set up for them.
Awesome. When people are coming in to like do a private event like that, is there an event coordinator or manager or anything like that on site for those people? Or is it just on your security, or how's that work?
So it depends. If we're here, we will be there meeting them. We want to get to the point where like we don't have to be always there, but we do have a lead. So it's either going to be us, our manager, or our bar lead, depending on who's available and how we have it scheduled. But there is always somebody that is in charge of meeting that person who's in charge of the event, and that has coordination. So yeah, there's coordinations from out the gate, from when you load in to decorating, whether it be us, our bar manager, or the bar lead, depending on the show night. There's always someone assigned.
Awesome. So I know that based on all the things that we've talked about, it sounds like you guys are extremely involved in the planning process, ready to give people recommendations and help them get vendors and all of those things sorted out. Who is generally the main contact prior to the event, not during the event? Who's the main point of contact leading up to the event?
That's me.
Okay. So that was the last thing. And then I know that looking at the stuff that we talked about ahead of time, you have a special offer for listening to the podcast of 20% off. Is there a code or a way to do that, or anything that we need to know about that?
Yes. So we could do, the code is FF20 for Felix and Fingers 20. And that's 20% off any of our shows. Yeah.
Great. Love that. Well, thank you guys so much for joining. I appreciate all of your time, and I know that your venue's amazing, and I love playing there, and we love playing there, so I look forward to more fun events. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Hey, we really appreciate you, Jake, and we love you playing with us too, and let's keep this going. It's such a fun event with you guys.
Yeah.
It is always so fun. Thank you.
All right, aloha from Maui.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Eventful Endeavors, Secrets to Crafting the Perfect Celebration. We hope to have left you with some actionable ideas for your own event. If you like the show, please subscribe and definitely leave us a review. We read every comment. So until next time, happy planning and see you soon on Eventful Endeavors.